Hello everybody and welcome back to Ethiopia, where as you can see, I decided to move all of the military factories to the top of the queue, and we're just going to delay infrastructure for now. Now, I realize that there are good reasons to build infrastructure, but I want to get these done because we are definitely in need of a few things. Particularly light tanks. So we're going to work on those, and I think that'll be fine. Also, a lot of them I was noticing as I was moving their priority, a lot of them that we're not even currently working on were already relatively close to done. So that's going to be useful as well. So we'll get those done ASAP. And I want to potentially... What do we need for women in the workforce? Total mobilization. Okay, so we're probably never going to have that because we simply can't move to total mobilization because nobody is ever going to have more than 50% of our total number of factories. I think that's just something we're going to have to accept. Now, these infantry divisions, I was looking at this, and a lot of these are currently, I think, let's see, if we look at this, organization 39 out of 39, current fighting strength is 51%. They're waiting for support equipment and light tank. Okay. However, I do see that some of these are actually ready to be attacking. Now, looking at this, none of these are actually on the Pratiharan front. So there is that. That is definitely a thing. The Pratiharan front is these guys over, I think these guys are included as well, is this half over here. Now, I do want to potentially increase the size of all of these armies to 24. And to that end, I'm actually going to put out, these are considered light tank brigades? Yeah, I suppose they were. I'm still going to put these out, and we're going to deploy these infantry here instantly. Now, we're not going to deploy the tanks. And these aren't going to be super well trained. I realize that. I just want to get these to the front line. I am realizing that. I know what you're saying. We already had one. Oh well. We still needed to get them to the front line. So I'm going to put all 6 of these light tank brigades. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to select 3 of these. These are belonging to Army 13. What am I talking about? These guys are unassigned. Okay. We are going to select half of them. And we're going to assign half of them to this army. And the other half to this army. Now, we're going to need to move one of these over, like that, but that's okay. So that gets us closer. Emphasis on the closer to having all of these maxed out. We're still in need of 10 more brigades, but that's fine. Is there any actual fighting going on this front? No, there is not. We have very little intel on what's going on over there. So that's a thing. We do have available planes in reserve. I'm thinking perhaps we should run something out of this airbase. We can have fighters in here, and we can have them just do air superiority over Iran, potentially. Apparently they don't want to do that. Maybe because we need to actually reduce the number here down to 300. Actually, it would need to be 200, wouldn't it? There we go. Yeah, now they're popping up. Okay. Excellent. So there is Afghanistan over here too, and I actually want to shift this airbase over to Afghanistan, although it doesn't have coverage. Okay. Yeah, you don't reach either. You can't reach Pakistan. Noted. This airbase, however, absolutely could. And I want to put in some interwar fighters and some regular fighters. We don't have any spare bombers right now, but I want to put in interwar fighters and regular fighters, like so. And I want this wing to be... I want this wing to be 700. And I want this wing to be 700 as well. Now, we're not currently making interwar fighters, if I recall correctly. We shouldn't be, anyway. Yeah, we're making Fighter 1 and Tactical Bomber 1. But I want these guys to be working on some air superiority over Afghanistan. Let's see, they are going to arrive soon enough, so that is good. Well, these guys are currently transferring in, right? Anyway. Okay, so this airbase is now helping out on the Afghanistan front. Excellent. I meant to go back to the default map mode. There's a naval invasion in Arabia. When isn't there a naval invasion in Arabia, though? If I'm honest, there always is. Our production cap is looking pretty decent. Our infantry equipment, too, is approaching that cap. As was our heavy tanks. It's at roughly the same production efficiency, so that's great to see. We are in need of a lot of heavy tanks and a lot of light tanks, but that is why we are making roughly 1 million military factories. Excellent. On our technology front, we've got a ways to go before anything really happens. And there is, of course, this situation going on. So there's that. It would require the next province to require more supplies than it has. Now, where do we actually see the supply level for the province? Oh, okay. That explains it. It's because it's extremely hot over here and we're crossing through this desert. Fair enough. So essentially we have to wait for it to cool off before we can move through. That makes sense. It's a bit unfortunate, but it makes sense. Now, infrastructure may very well help with that. And, I mean, I would like to be building infrastructure. But at the same time, we're going to breeze through these military factories real quickly. We should have all of these military factories done within the next, like, 6 to 8 months, I think. Maybe not 6 to 8, but certainly within the next year. Yeah, a lot of these are singletons and would be done in just a single month. Excellent. The question is, do we want to start testing Pratiharan Resolve again? Now that we've got our infantry equipment level 2? Maybe. Our production cap is coming up nicely. Let's see. They have 124 to 185 airplanes there, and Pratiharan has 111 to 196 there. No airplanes. This airbase is not in use. Okay. I feel like I would like to start pushing this. Now we should probably put some commanders in. That is probably something that we should do. He's assigned to another army already. That's slightly awkward. Okay, yeah, all of these are assigned. We can get more with political power. Okay. That's something I'm actually quite willing to do. It's an increasing cost, to be sure. But we need one more. Yeah, I'm content with that. One more commander? Let's do it. So we now have commanders on every army along the Pratiharan front. And in terms of our fill-in here, yeah, that looks good, actually. Political commissars have finished up. That's nice. We could go for ideological fanaticism. That does give us war support, division attack on core territory, division defense on core territory, can create factions, and allows kamikaze strikes. I'm not sure how useful kamikaze strikes truly are. We may want to start grabbing some things over here, but these are mostly just research bonuses, which I'm not sure that we really want all that badly. I mean, maybe the nuclear effort. Maybe. But I think we'll grab ideological fanaticism for right now. Excellent. How are we doing over here? We have a lot of factories getting close to finishing up. We have put in like 5 factories since this episode started. So that's nice for our light tank supplies, which we definitely need more of. That's for sure. I really... Oh, okay. Kalaturis was puppeted to free India. Okay. If free India decides to attack us, we have issues. We should maybe consider attempting to improve relations with them. Relations aren't great currently, but oh, they're fascist. That's not helpful. Yeah, we currently have very little on this front with Free India. Let's see, this is uncrossable there. Yeah, that's fine. It's a wide front, though, and we have very few troops on that. We should, in fact, maybe consider deploying the tank brigades here that have their training up a bit, just to get them moving over this way. They'll get there eventually, if they get started. Let's actually just tell them to get moving. Get over here. You guys, get over here. You guys, get over here too. Okay. And you get over here too. Fine. Resistance to occupation is happening. That's expected, honestly. But this is definitely a stalemate on the Pratiharan front. That said, we should be able to grind through them in a little while. We just finished up our home defense. That's nice. Now, naval mission efficiency, that's not very useful. Maybe we should start working on atomic research. Maybe. Sure, we can do that. Okay. Let's begin our push. In we go. Now, I expect to see losses across the board here, pretty much. I don't expect that we're going to see too much out of this, but if we can just push into this airbase, that would be a huge loss for them. Like, absolutely enormous loss. An ace pilot has been promoted. Okay, we gained some war support there. That's nice. And we do have a lot of political power right now, actually. We should probably think about putting in perhaps a tank designer. Or an aircraft designer. Fighter and carrier fighter agility and max speed. That would be nice. Or an industrial concern. That's just research speed. Okay. I think we're going to put in a tank designer for right now. We're using tanks pretty heavily. But the idea here is that we're not going to see huge gains here right away. In fact, we're going to see losses over here. And the idea here is that we are just going to grind them down through attrition. We have numerical advantages in basically every category. So that is the idea. We should probably have an army group, shouldn't we? That would probably help. So these guys would all go into an army group. And this army group would be led by, say, this field marshal. Now, we would need... Okay, that's 7 out of 5. Noted. We would need another new commander. Okay. We can have these guys stop. And then they can exit this army group. How do we exit them out of the army group? Okay, we can just drag and drop. That's fine. Okay, now I'm going to delete all of these disparate orders. And we're going to try to clean this up a little bit using proper army groups. So we're going to delete all of these for right now. And all of these. And all of these. Okay. There we go. Now, this army group is going to frontline this entire duration of this border here. And their offensive line is to go right like that, up against that river, as it previously was. Now, these two are going to form another army group. And we should probably put in another field marshal here. We don't have the ability to promote one yet, though. So we're going to not have anything in that army group just yet. But their goal is simply to hold this line. There we go. Okay. There we go. And he's going to attack. That might help if the armies are actually able to coordinate. We do see that our forces are considered quite a lot stronger. So that's great. And these guys are just here to hold the line for now. If we have to, we can move these guys up to Free India. In fact, maybe we should. We can move these guys into here. That didn't go well. That didn't go well at all. This guy can go back into here. What I meant to do is select this army and assign it to this army group. And then this army group, we can delete that. We're actually going to delete this as well. And we're going to redo this. Okay, so this army group is going to frontline over here. We're going to delete these orders. Okay. And then we're going to frontline against Free India. Okay. These guys are going to frontline right here. And they're going to offensive line right here. Army groups are nice. I like army groups. I should have been using them this whole time. Okay. Excellent. So these guys will slowly withdraw. And that should, in theory, be helpful for us. In theory. Okay, so we are definitely seeing some losses on this front, but hopefully we will start to see that turn around once we have this a little more smartly organized. That's the idea anyway. How are we doing on our military factories? Those are in progress and working reasonably well. Now we can see that there's quite a lot of Pratiharan troops over here. And in fact, we're now showing that the enemy is stronger. We're just going to stop our attack for now and let our army groups organize. And we will figure out how that's supposed to work later on. Now, can we promote this field marshal any higher? Can efficiently command 5 armies. Okay. So if we wanted to have more armies here efficiently, then we would have to split this into 2 fronts. Gotcha. I can't help but notice that this is not being covered up here. I'm not a fan of that. Let's delete the army group order. And I want to put in the army group front line. Yeah. It just skips this area. But yet, oh, this is impassable, apparently. It's just hiding under the river. Never mind then. Okay. Just can barely see it. That's not quite the offensive line we're looking for. We are instead looking for this offensive line. Excellent. Engineer Company 2 just finished up. That's great. I want to next work on Recon Company 2, I think. And that'll be fine. Okay, so there's not really... Is there a way to get this guy promoted to be able to lead more than 5 armies? That's the question. That is indeed the question. Yeah, look at this. They're just walking over here, but this is supposedly impassable. This is the same icon as this one anyway. But yeah, we are definitely yielding territory over here. And he's walking this way. So my question is, why are we not setting up a front line here? Okay, he's not walking that way anymore. Interesting. Okay, well, we yielded this position. That's fine. These guys... What is this army supposed to be doing? That's a good question. Let's set them up with a front line that's right here. And I'd like to assign this army in. Thank you very much. And I'd also like to set in an offensive line that's, say, coming out like that. I wonder if we might be able to break through from behind. These guys are going to have to move quick, though, because they're going to lose supplies. So we're just going to push them, and we're also going to attack out here. See if we can stretch them a bit thin. We'll see what that ends up doing. See if we can link these guys up for supply purposes. They are responding to this, but this is fine. I'm not too concerned, because in theory, that should be pulling resources away from them elsewhere. Emphasis on the in theory. In fact, it may not be doing that. However, you can see here, our light tank factories are nearly done. And actually, I would prefer to not be prioritizing anti-air. I would want to do, after that, support equipment... and probably another line of infantry equipment too, realistically. I am going to drop a little bit of fighter factories. Just in the hopes that those get assigned in over here. But no, they're not. They're getting assigned in up here. Okay. That's not ideal. But it's fine. Okay, we're going to see if we can just attrition this up. Pratiharan definitely can't keep up with our supply output. So there's that, especially as we're approaching our production efficiency cap. We don't know what their production efficiency cap is, but just in terms of the number of factories, they won't be able to keep this up forever. So we're probably going to take large losses from it, sure. But ultimately, I think it's fine. Like, I don't care about losing any of these. These are infantry divisions and cavalry brigades over here, so losing that isn't the worst thing. I'm okay with using them to use up supplies from Pratiharan. That is completely fine. We do have an air base right here that we probably should make use of. We are going to have some fighter wings, and the cap for this airbase appears to be 200. Okay, and we're going to use those for air superiority here in Afghanistan. Excellent. Now, again, I don't expect that we're going to be winning these attacks right away. I do, however, expect that what we are going to do is cause them to go a little bit thin. And ultimately, the idea here is that they will run out of supplies. Long before we will. One of our generals fell ill, which is unfortunate. However, it is time to put a cut in here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we are going to continue our push into Pratiharan. And we may end up in reinforcing this. I don't know. We'll have to see. See you all next time. Did I do my outro? I'm not sure I did. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings. And I'll see you all next time.